forgetting names and needing to tab out, and it's like I'd have to like blend all the files together to make it a video. So I want to talk about the prelims and early prelims a little bit for 311 this Saturday, because it really is a really good card. So the very first fight on the card, assuming they had it in the proper order, was Kennedy Chekwe versus Lucas Drusky. I'm not too familiar with Lucas, but I am a fan of Kennedy. He's a very interesting fighter. His first two fights that I saw him in the UFC, he just kind of helmeted and didn't throw a punch for a long time, like until the third round of both fights. And I believe he won both of those first two. He went on a losing streak. I got to see him in Louisville. He lost there. And he lost just a couple weeks ago, but it was kind of a weird stoppage, if I recall correctly. And he has moved up to heavyweight, which was the last fight. So I believe this is also going to be at heavyweights. Beyond after that, I think the next fight, and if I get the order wrong, I'm sorry, guys, but we are on the early prelims right now. We're not even on the prelims. This is the very first fight, so early prelims. The next fight up, I believe, was Clay Guida and Chase Hooper. Like, that's awesome. Okay, so Clay Guida is the long-haired, like, just wild, swinging, banging guy, and he's in his 40s now. That dude's been around just having spectacular, entertaining fights for, like, 20 years. It really might be. It's probably closer to like 15, 16, but you get the idea. He's been doing it forever. Chase Hooper is a young guy. He's a real skinny white guy that's tall and has the afro thing, like curly hair. He's white though. And he's really good at grappling. And Chase Hooper takes a beating a lot of the times and then ends up pulling a submission Hail Mary out of nowhere. So that's really, really going to be an interesting fight. I'm really, really excited for the fans on that one. I'm going to try to tab to where I can see more of the card really quick. See if I can figure this out. All right, then we got Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. Both have been around for a while. Then we got Cody Durden, who is getting really, really popular on MMA Twitter, versus Joshua Van. I think I like Cody in that fight. And then if I've got them all named right, the main event is Eric Anders and Chris Weidman. And Eric and Chris were supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, but Eric got sick like 2 or 3 days before the fight, I guess pretty bad, and they canceled the whole fight. They couldn't find him a replacement. They attempted to. Chris went on some podcasts and talked about how he wishes he should have been paid because his show and win money are the same. So some fans are now saying, since he's been bumped to he's not just bumped to the prelims, he's on the early prelims. He's the early prelims main event, that it's a form of punishment. Well, Chris is also employed by the UFC as a commentator. He does their weigh-in show. I don't know if commentator is the right word, but he does the weigh-in show. And he's really entertaining with that group. I feel like there's one other employment he has through the UFC, but I don't recall what it is at the moment. But in short, I don't think Chris is getting punished, and I'm pretty sure Chris and Eric were on the prelims when they were booked to originally fight. So there's nothing changing there. I'm going to tab again. I think that pauses the video, but let me get these. So on the regular prelims, we've got Randy Brown and Brian Battles. Brian Battles is becoming very entertaining as a heel. He, where was he fighting at? Did he fight at 300? He fought at a pay-per-view though recently, and the crowd booed him because I believe his opponent was from that hometown, and he just talked crap to the crowd when they booed him, and that was cool. So I think he's going to start garnering some attention. Randy Brown's a pretty entertaining fighter too, so that should be a good one. Then we got Luque. Let me make sure I got this right. We got Vincent Luque versus Thiemba Grombo. I'm not very familiar with the other guy. He is a replacement for Nick Diaz. I was really wanting to see Nick on this fight. I think Luque is going to breeze through that. Next up, we have Aljamain Sterling and Movzar. I hope I'm saying that right. Movzar. And this fight been brewing for a minute. Aljo got hurt when they were supposed to fight, and I guess they just rescheduled it for this card. And Aljo, I've been following Aljo a lot on Twitter. I really like him. And I'm pretty sure I stood next to him in Nashville, and I kept looking at him, and I was like, man, this guy is short. Big-ass gold chain. He had the hair, and he was ripped as could be. It was fucking Aljo. I end up seeing him later signing autographs in the crowd. I totally could have talked to him in the VIP, and I just didn't. I didn't know it was him. But Aljo signs autographs for everyone between every fight at this Nashville card, and then once it gets to the main event, they show him on the screen like they show the celebrities there, and everyone boos him. And that made me mad at everyone and made me like Aljo even more. So I'm gonna be rooting for Aljo in that one. What else do we got? We got Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith as the main event of the prelims. I did a whole video about that earlier, so I'm not going to get into that one a whole lot. I'm excited for that fight. And then in the main card, I've gone over most of the fights. I didn't go over the Nate fight because I don't really know a lot about him. What is that, Nate Landers? I think I'm saying right. He's fighting. But from top to bottom, it's actually a pretty good card. Like even just the early prelim matchups could be a fight night main card, like without a doubt. Pretty good card. They're putting together a lot of top to bottom pretty full cards of quality opponents. It's like when it doesn't have that one star in it, people just don't get into it as much. Like if it doesn't have Sugar, if it doesn't have Alex, Connor, Izzy, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like it's missing a little something, but I think that's the direction we got to go in. But I just wanted to make one more video. I've been on a spree of videos. I'll try to get the Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith preview uploaded tonight. Try to go live because it keeps, when I tab out, it cancels my video when I'm recording it myself. But yeah, this is a little bit going over the prelims and early prelims. It's a nice little card. All right. Y'all have a good one.